if you've been working on good habits, implementing good structures and routines into your life, but you're not seeing any progress and you're still feeling stuck, then this is for you. If you don't know me, my name is Darian, and this channel is all about documenting my progress and sharing what's working for me on my journey. But today I want to talk about the hierarchy of habits, as I like to call it. And what I mean by that basically is what you should prioritize and why maybe you're not seeing results, even though you're doing the right thing. So let me kind of break down what that's looked like for me and how I think that it could help you. So there's a lot of information out there. There's a lot of pollution almost. It's not that the advice is bad, it's that there's so much of it and so many people saying so many different things. And you might find yourself implementing habit after habit after habit and not really seeing any results, or maybe you've been really focusing on dialing in like meditation or something like that, or journaling or cold showers or whatever it is. And what I'm trying to share with you today is that any one of those things is not going to make you successful by itself. There are plenty of successful people that don't do any of those things, and I want to kind of share with you why I think that is. So even quitting bad habits, like when it came to me, like quitting vaping and stuff like that, of course that's a good thing. And of course these habits are good and they do have their place. But what I'm saying is quitting vaping didn't make me more successful. It helped, but it by itself is not going to create change in my life. So if, for example, you're trying to start a business, you're trying to make money, the number one thing that you need to be focusing on is showing up consistently and working on that every day, is basically what I'm trying to say in a nutshell. Everything else should come secondary. So I think it's really important to talk to yourself and take a look in the mirror and figure out exactly what your goals are, and then prioritize your habits based off of that. Now, a lot of this came to me because I was thinking about advice like make your bed. And I'm the kind of guy where I'm pretty tidy and organized, so I make my bed most of the time. And to be honest, after years and years of doing it, I wouldn't say that I'm any more or less successful because of it. I think it's important to understand where that advice is coming from in order to understand why people are telling you to do it. Because again, it's not that it's bad advice, but the thing is that's about supporting and cultivating a more disciplined mindset more than anything, right? But if it came down to choosing between doing the work that you had to do, be that going to the gym or sitting down on your computer and working on something, or making your bed, and most times you'll have time for both, obviously, but if it, for whatever reason in this extreme circumstance, came down to one or the other, obviously you should choose to go to the gym or do the work 100% of the time. And so now here's where I want to get a little bit deeper into it and maybe really just encourage you to think about this in your own life, but because that's what I've been doing recently. And I've noticed a big a big improvement in my productivity because of it, because I feel like I spent a lot of time focusing on the wrong things. I wouldn't allow myself to do one thing until I'd have done the other. I was kind of taking a more extreme approach about it, but it's, again, important to remember that I'll say that in a minute, but you should, first I want to say you should look at all of the things that you're doing and categorize them based on what's more important. So for me, that looks like number one is like going to the gym and sitting down and working. I'm learning to trade crypto, so like I spend time focusing, learning on that above anything else. If I don't get around to journaling or meditating or something like that, that's okay. Again, I still want to do those things, but the sitting down and working on my computer is the priority. So, and then secondary to that, it's if, I say that sleep is more important than journaling and meditating as well. I might say that for me, journaling is more important than meditating. Like everything is kind of in a hierarchy. So when I know exactly what to focus on, and if I'm busy or if I'm going to make excuses, which let's be real, sometimes you're going to, especially at the beginning when you're cultivating these habits, then there are certain things that I will leave out before others. Now, if you want to make an argument against this mentality, I'm all for it. But in my opinion, it's unrealistic to assume that you're going to do everything every day. And I think for a lot of us that are just starting out, or like, just now finally committing to these habits, are going to run into this roadblock where it's not that you say it outright in your mind, but you might just be like, well, I don't want to do my meditation first thing this morning, and you just get stuck on that, and then you just go back into your old patterns, which is, it's a bit of mental gymnastics that I think you get over as you get deeper into things and better organized. But I think you get the point. Just reflect on what's most important and make sure that you're prioritizing that above all else. Because at the end of the day, if you want to build a business, you could smoke, drink, get no sleep. Those things are not going to help you. They're going to hold you back. But if you sit up at your computer and do the work, you're going to get the results. Whereas if you did all of those positive things, but didn't show up and do the work, it's all for naught. And that's leading into my next point, which is remembering what these habits are for. And why do people give that advice? And in my opinion, it's because those habits are intended to support what you're trying to get done. The meditation and the journaling, for example, again, are going to help you organize your thoughts and clear out your mind so that you're able to focus and be more productive while you're doing that. It gives you an edge, but it in and of itself is a tool. It's a tool to be used. So it's separate from the actual vehicle or the objective that you're going for. But let me just state it clearly. I am in full support of doing those good habits, because I think for a lot of us out there that maybe aren't favored by circumstance, or you've got, let's be real, a lot of us have got things working against us. Maybe we don't come from a good family. We don't, have friends that are into this stuff. Maybe you're like me and you're a little bit older and you have responsibilities in life. Things look different for you. So you're going to have to tailor what you're doing to your specific circumstances too. And that's why we should act on principles and priorities rather than methods. And that's basically it in a nutshell. But like I was saying, those good habits for people like us, that it helps you overcome disadvantages. Just because such and such smoked and drank and partied and is successful does not mean that you can replicate that. And I think is foolish to think that you can replicate someone else's success. So one thing I remember hearing very, very early on when I first started to get into like business and self-improvement was actually from Alex Becker way back in the day. He talked about stacking the deck in your favor, which I think is super, super important. And contrasting to that is the underdog mentality, which I myself am very bad for. I like doing things the hard way because of my ego. And sometimes I don't even realize it. But what's important to realize that if you want to be successful, sure, you can get away with X, Y, and Z, but you should be trying to get every possible advantage. And that's what those habits, all of those habits, really, in my opinion, fundamentally are about, is about making it as likely as possible for you to be successful. Because in reality, the odds of you being successful are low. And I'm not one for pessimistic statistics, and I don't even really believe that those statistics are reflective of reality. But what I'm saying is most people will not be successful. So it is important, and I think it is indicative of someone who is going to be successful that you're willing to do whatever it takes. For me, that meant dropping my ego and being willing to learn from other people. But yeah, so that's going to be it for today. That's enough ranting from me. Just so maybe something that, if you're watching this video, you can take away and do that I've been doing is sit down and not only set goals for yourself, long-term, mid-term, and short-term, but also think about all of the habits that you have and categorize them. Like, what's most important? What is the main things that I need to be doing daily to ensure that I'm successful? It's sure as fuck not going to be cleaning your room. It's more likely going to be get your ass to the gym, sit down on your computer, do some work, whatever that looks like for you, you'll know. And then there'll be a secondary layer to that Like for me, it's more important that I get a good night's sleep than that I journal, etc., etc. So do with this what you will. If you're on a journey similar to mine, or if you found something helpful in this video, I would love to hear about it in the comments. So please let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next one.